Hello students, welcome back you all. So today we are going to start our new chapter, that is chapter number 13, Food for Plants and Animals. So from the topic Food for Plants and Animals, we have understood that here we are going to read how the plants prepare food for themselves, how the animals get their food for themselves. So before going into the chapter, I would like to introduce some of the terms present in this chapter. So as we know that plants can produce their own food. Yes, plants can produce their own food. So they are said as autotrophs. And animals and human beings cannot produce their own food. So they are said as heterotrophs. So we have already learned or we have already studied in the last class that plants prepare their food through the process of photosynthesis. Yes, the details of photosynthesis we will be learning inside the chapter. Now let's get started with the interesting facts about the food for plants and animals chapter. Let's get started. Okay students, now let's get started with our new chapter, that is chapter 13, Food for Plants and Animals. So from the topic you must have understood that food for plants and animals means the food items that the plants and animals need for their survival, for their daily survival. Okay children? So let's get started to know about the green plants. Plants make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. So they are called as autotrophs or said as producers. They uses the energy from the sun to produce their own food. So they are called as producers or the autotrophs. Mainly the plants are the only producers in the whole ecosystem. Plants are the only producers in the whole ecosystem. Now let us learn about the autotrophs and heterotrophs. As plants make their own food, so they are said as the producers or the autotrophs. But what about heterotrophs? Heterotroph means they cannot make their own food. They consume the food that is made by the autotrophs. For example, animals and we, the human beings, we cannot produce our own food. So we depend on the autotrophs, that is the plants. They will make their food and we will consume the food made by them. Now let us learn about the process of photosynthesis. How plants make their food through photosynthesis. So the process starts from the leaves. Leaves are said as the food factories of the plants because all the process of making food goes on in leaves. So leaves prepare the food with the help of carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So what happens? The water is absorbed from the roots, from soil, and it goes through the stem to various parts of the plants. Carbon dioxide is taken from air through the stomata. Chlorophyll traps the sun energy and convert carbon dioxide and water into sugar and oxygen. So all of you can see in the photosynthesis process, the leaves absorbs the heat energy from the sun along with carbon dioxide and water from the soil and process it in the leaves and releases oxygen as a byproduct. So photosynthesis can be said as a process in which the leaves prepare food in the presence of sunlight, energy, carbon dioxide and water and make their own food and releases sugar and oxygen as a byproduct. So you must be thinking, what is chlorophyll? Yes, the green pigment the leaves contain a pigment is called the chlorophyll. It is a green substance that makes the leaf the color green. So this color, chlorophyll, traps the light energy from the sun which is used to make food. It combines with the carbon dioxide and water to make the food. It helps the plants to get energy from the sun. This is the stomata. Now we learned that the carbon dioxide enters into the leaves through stomata, and through stomata the oxygen is also released from the leaves. So there is a small holes, openings in the stomata, openings in the leaves. Small openings in the leaves. You can see the openings. Sometimes it is closed and sometimes it is open. So it is open when the carbon dioxide goes into it, and after releasing oxygen it closes down. So these small openings in the leaves, surface of the leaves, are called the stomata. Now let us learn how photosynthesis occurs in desert plants. So desert plants like cactus make their food in the stem, because as their leaves are reduced to thorns or spines, they prepare their food in their green fleshy stem. Their leaves are reduced to thorns or spines because they have to prevent water loss. In desert area, they don't have sufficient amount of water, so to prevent excessive water loss, their leaves are reduced to thorns. Another advantage, we can say that spines protects the plants from being eaten by the animals. So animals cannot easily eat these plants. Now let us learn about the non-green plants. So what are non-green plants? The plants that do not have chlorophyll are called non-green plants. So this green pigment is not there in the non-green plants. So they cannot make their own food, as we know that chlorophyll helps in preparing food. But as the non-green plants do not have any chlorophyll, so they cannot prepare their own food. So they depend on other dead and decaying plants and animals to get their food. Here are some examples of non-green plants. Non-green plants include mushroom. As we know that mushroom is a non-green plant. All of you must have eaten mushroom, and all of you know that it is not green in color. So they do not produce their own food. They grow on the dead and decaying plants and animals. These are called the bracket fungus. You can see these are the non-green plants, and you must have seen in some old woods, when a wood is kept outside in the sun and rain for a longer time, and such type of things grow on it. They are called bracket fungus. So these are the non-green plants. Rafflesia, the largest flower of the world, is also a non-green plant. It do not have stem, root or leaves. So the Rafflesia flower is also said as a non-green plant because it do not have chlorophyll. So they grow on the dead and decaying plants and animals. Now let us learn about the insectivorous, or we can say the carnivorous plants. So what are insectivorous plants? Plants that eat insects are called insectivorous plants. So it must be a strange thing for you that plants eating insects. Yes, plants are eating insects for their growth and for their survival. So they grow in soil that is very poor in nutrients. They capture the insects to get these nutrients for their growth and survival. Let's take some examples. Venus flytrap. You can see the picture of the Venus flytrap, and one insect is already trapped in the leaf. So they have leaves that are like boxes with hinges, sharp like structure that are called hinges. They have long hair along the edges. So when an insect touches the hair, the leaf snaps shut, trapping the creature inside. So the opening type structure present in the leaves, when the insects sit on the hair of the leaves, what happens? They snaps the leaf or closes the leaf to trap the insect inside. Next is your peachy plant. You can see the picture of a peachy plant. Yes, the leaves are in form of a container. This is the leaf and it is in a shape of a container with a lid. Lid means a covering. You can see the upper cover one, circle cover one. Yes, what happens in a peachy plant? The leaves, the cavity of leaves are filled with sweet smelling nectar. They are usually sweet smelling, for which the insects get attracted to the leaves. And what happens when the insect enter the leaves? Its lid closes down. The insect gets trapped and drowns in the nectar. So this is how the Venus flytrap and peachy plant gets attract the insects and get their nutrients. Another example here is the sundew plant. You can see the plant and already an insect is already captured by the plant. So sundew plant is covered with the hair. You can see in the side long hair is present. They have a sticky liquid on them. So it is clearly visible the sticky liquids at the tip of the hair. This liquid shines in the sun and attracts insects. So when the insects sit on the plant, it is cut by curling of hair. The hairs that are very long, they curl up. They curl up the insect inside it and kill the insects and eat them to get the nutrients. Now let us learn about the parasitic plants. So these are the plants that grow on other plants for their food and water. So they don't have any stem, leaves or roots. Okay. So they grow on other plants to get their food. Host plant means the plant on which the parasitic plants grow. So there is a main plant. Okay. There is a main plant on which these parasitic plants grow on them. You can see the amiable plant here. So there is a main plant and a vine-like structure circling around the leaves. So these are the parasitic plants. So they grow on other host plants to get their food and water. The vine-like structure circling around the leaves, it will be said as a parasitic plant. Now let's learn about the food for animals. As animals cannot make their own food, so they depend on other plants or other animals for their food. So as they cannot make their own food, so they are said as consumers. So there are various types of consumers present in our ecosystem. Let's get started with the herbivores. Animals that depend directly on food. That is the plants. They depend directly on the plants. These animals depend directly on the plants like zebra, rabbit, cow, giraffe, elephant. They eat the parts of the plant. So they are called herbivores. Next is carnivores. So these are the animals that depend on other animals for food. Fox, wolf, lion, shark, they kill other animals as a prey and eat them. They eat the flesh of other animals only. Omnivores. Omnivorous means the animals that eat both plants and flesh of other animals. Like we human beings, we also eat the parts of the plant. We also eat the flesh of other animals. Bear, pigs, hens. So these are some of the animals that eats both plants and flesh of other animals. Next is your scavenger. animals that depend on dead and decaying part of other animals. So when an animal gets die or gets died, so what happens, these scavengers, they eat those flesh of the dead animals. Some of the examples scavengers can be vulture, hyena. What happens to them when they see a dead animal? They feed on them. Decomposers. So decomposers are the microorganisms that obtain their food from dead and decaying plants and animals. So these are the microorganisms, small organisms. What happens? They grow or they feed the dead and decaying plants and animals like worm, mushroom, insects, bacteria. So they grow and feed on other dead and decaying parts of the plants and animals. Now let us learn about food chain. So what is a food chain? First we will know what is a food chain. So it is a series of organisms linked together in order in which they feed on each other. So here there is a series of organisms and they feed on each other, depend on each other, like starting with the producer. As we know, every ecosystem starts with a producer, that is plants. So you can see the producer, that is a grass. Grass is eaten by a grasshopper. So a grasshopper is eaten by a bird. A bird is eaten by a snake. And a snake is eaten by an owl. An owl is eaten when the owl gets died. The dead body of the owl gets decomposed in the soil by the decomposers. So when it gets decomposed, then it helps other plants to grow. Again plants grow up. Again that plant is eaten by the grasshopper. So this chain is a continuous chain that goes on and on from one organism to another, from another organism to another organism. So it is a chain that continues for always continues in a ecosystem. Now let's learn about the food wave. Food wave is also said as a transfer of energy in an ecosystem. Energy is transferred between organisms when one organism eats another. It is as similar as food chain, but there is a little difference in the food wave. In the food chain, there is one single path. From one point to another, there is a single path. But in food wave, the path is distributed to many. Here you can see, starting from the plants. Plant is eaten by the grasshopper. Now the grasshopper can be eaten by the rat and also eaten by the wolf. Yes or no? Yes. So here there are two paths from grasshopper. In one path it goes to the rat, another path it goes to the wolf. Now the rat can be eaten by two organisms, directly by the vulture or the bat, or it can be eaten by the wolf. Yes or no? Now also here it is divided into two parts. Now the wolf can be eaten by the vulture. Here you can see the microorganisms in the water is eaten by the fish. The fish is eaten by the crabs. The crabs are eaten by the wolf. So now the microorganisms help the decomposers to decompose, and the decomposers helps other plants to grow. So there is a interlinked of organisms. It is not in one path. It doesn't exist independently. So it is not a particular food chain, it is a mixing of so many food chains. Okay, so here the food chains are interlinked. So here you can see that animal eaters are themselves eaten by the other animal eaters also. So interlinked of a food chain to various paths can be said as a food web. Food chains and food webs help in maintaining a balance in nature. Even if one of the members of the food chain increases or decreases in number, the whole chain is affected adversely. So it is very important that the food chain should be maintained in a proper path. I hope you must have all understood the topic. Thank you, all of you.